Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to do a harvest and check of our Urban Worm Bag version 2.0. So this is a bag that was created by obviously the company Urban Worm Bag by Steve Churchill, and I want to congratulate him for being featured in an NBC News article on composting. They listed a bunch of systems and his came in as one of the ones that you should look at purchasing. So I'll have a link below to the article itself along with a link to purchase this off of Amazon and directly from his website. And if you wouldn't mind, those are our affiliate links of mine. Please use those if you look at purchasing. So let's go and take a look at the harvesting and the bag itself. Okay, so here's the top of the bag here. The version 2 has the 2 zippers here. So let's just open this up. Peel this back. No moisture on the lid here, kind of dry. That's okay. I have this box in here. I'm supposed to keep moisture in. It's not, feels kind of, it's not moist, but it's ripping apart pretty easily. Now let's just dig in here and see. Now I've got some compost rolls in here. Just see any worms here. All right, here's our first worm here. Oops. So these are the big. Remember, this bag has the European night crawlers in it. These are pretty big. So I'm just trying to hold it down in the light here. So this one looks like it's pretty healthy, pretty big. It's starting to move along the back of my glove already. Put him back in there. Now let's just check out these compost rolls I added if I can find them. So I think this is a leftover part of one. There's some worms in here as well. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring it down and zoom in a little bit here. All right, now that we're zoomed in a little bit, let's get this take a look in here. Not much going on here, just a big wad of paper that's still left over. Actually, there was a worm in here as well, right there. Let's just dig down a little bit more in here. See if we can find one of these compost rolls. I'm finding worms, not the compost rolls that I threw in here. Here we go. Here's part of one probably. Looks like, as you can tell, this must have come apart already. Here's an avocado shell. Completely emptied out, it looks like. It's just the shell that's left. These will break down eventually in here, but you really got to break them down into smaller pieces, so I can do that now. There's no worms in there. I didn't want to crush any worms. So I'm going to put that right back in here. Let's kind of move this way here. All right. I think we found our first compost roll here. So right here's our compost roll. As you can see, it's just a roll of paper. And I'm not seeing any holes in it yet. Oh, actually one right here. So there's our first hole in it. I'm not seeing too many worms in the area, but they'll get here eventually. So I'm just going to move this over to the side just see what else we can find in here. It's a little dry on this side, I have to say. I wish it was a little bit more wet. Probably have to moisten this down once I do my harvest from the bottom. But overall, this is starting to look like pretty good material in here. It's definitely mixed in with the cardboard. Here's the other compost roll off to the side here. This one again has no hole in it. It doesn't look like any worms either. So we'll put that over there. I only added a couple, I think, last time. And I think the rest of them are just like this paper right here. I think they're gone. I think they've been worked through. And that's it. They're gone. I'm not seeing anything on this side, really. Maybe every once in a while I see a little piece of something that would have been in one of the rolls there. So that's about it. So it looks pretty good. Not too many worms. Again, these are the European night crawlers. I've not had as much success with these as I had with the red wigglers that I've had. So here we go. Here's some worms here. They look nice and healthy. Material's very nice. It's not quite fully broken down, but it's got a nice texture to it, really. As we get a little further down in here, you can see that the material is much more broken down. There's still some cardboard mixed in, but it feels nice. And actually, here's two worms. Oh wow, this is the first time I've seen this in a while. Two worms that are mating here. As you can see right here, they are hooked together and they are mating. So it means that there's a healthy population in here, and actually it looks like there's a cocoon right here on the end. I'm just going to see if I grab the cocoon there. Right there at the end there's a cocoon, if you can see that. Oops, moving the wrong way there. But yeah, you can see a cocoon right there. So we've got two worms that are mating in there, nice and healthy. Again, nice big European night crawlers. They look healthy. Could stand for a little bit more moisture in here, but other than that, it looks pretty good. So I'm going to put these back in here, bury them back in. I think I'll do another feeding maybe at the end of this as well. But for right now, this looks pretty good. It's definitely getting a little bit dry in here and definitely needs some more food. I wasn't really prepared for that. I thought there'd be more food left in here, so I'm going to have to add some foods. But for right now, I'm just going to put this back on the top. We're not going to add any moisture or anything, and let's go down underneath and start the harvest process. All right, so here we go. We're on the bottom side of the bin. This is the Urban Worm Bag version 2.0, obviously, still. You got these little tabs here. I'm not sure really what they're for. I don't need them because I'm using the stock metal holder all around. But let's just see here if we can find the zipper. Which way do I need to go here? There we go. All right, got a little bit coming down already. It's a little bit compacted down here. Got this little pull string right here. So I'm going to just pull that to open it up. And then we can open this up and start letting this bottom out. This is definitely a little bit compacted and not enough air down here. It has a little bit of an odor. It's probably just because it's been sitting here for so long. I probably should have harvested it before this, but it took a while to get this one going as much because these night crawlers weren't eating quite as much food as the red wigglers do. Normally, this is a little bit compacted, but I mean, it's breaking right apart. The moisture content's perfect. There's no worms in here that I'm seeing. It's all broken down. It's actually pretty nice looking compost, really. Let's just dig up here a little bit more. Again, still decent looking compost. Still a slight odor to it, but nothing outrageous. I mean, this isn't something where it's like I'm gagging or anything like that, which I've had in some of my other bins one time where I've let them go a little bit too long. I'm also not seeing any plastic materials, which is good. That means I didn't put any in. Well, actually, maybe one right here. This one might be plastic, so I'll put that off to the side right there. But overall, so far, so good. I think we could get a little bit more in here. I'm not seeing any paper come down yet. Again, still the same stuff. A little bit compacted, but coming off perfectly. I am seeing some paper in here that looks like it's not breaking down. I'm guessing this is plastic. I'm going to have to go through here, probably make sure. I probably had some plastic piece of paper that made it into my into all my stuff, and I just didn't realize it. So I'm finding another piece right here. I just throw that off to the side. I'll throw that away later. Don't want that going out into my yard if possible. All I'm doing, by the way, is when I reach up, I'm just kind of scraping my fingers along. Actually, here's my first worms right here that we're pulling out of the bin. Oops, you can't see that way when I get too close. So now I have to remember, I can't put these in my other bins like I have with some of my other times I've harvested my Urban Worm Bag version 1.0. That has red wigglers in it. I just throw those in another bin or wherever. These are red wiggler, or these are European night crawlers, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to want to make sure I put these back into this bin and not in any of my other bins. I don't want to start mixing populations here where it's hard to know what's what. All right. All right, still most of the stuff, I'm not seeing any real material other than the plastic bits, which I really need to do a better job with, apparently. I didn't realize how many would be in here. So I'm going to keep going a little bit more. See if we can just get down to this quite a bit coming out here. Actually, there's a lot more than I thought in here. That's actually really well composted. As I said, though, I'm going to have to go and make sure I remove all these worms that have fallen through. There's not a whole bunch of them, but there's definitely enough where I will have to do a check. Actually, this is where these handholds can come in handy to dig your hands into the sides here and make sure you're getting everything out. All right, I think this is good. for this first harvest that I'm doing here, I'm starting to get a lot more worms out of them, and I don't want to, and I'm getting some of the bedding now too, so now I've got to stop. This is one thing I've learned, is once you get to the bedding material, you got to stop doing this. As you can see right here, I've got some paper and everything. All those are going to have everything collapse down into these things. So you got to be careful about that. You don't want to collapse down the entire system into this bottom section and have it all come out. I've had that happen before. So now I'm going to put this back together. Tighten this internal bag back up. Shake this out a little bit. Make sure the string is in the zippered section that I'm going to close. If I can get it. There we go. And I'm going to use my clean hand, zipper this back up. So that's our first harvest here. Actually, I don't know if it's my first one. I think I might have harvested once before. I'm going to take off my glove here and just zipper this back up. And then we'll come and take a look at these castings that came out of here. All right. So let's go back up top and take a look at these castings. All right, so here's our castings that we got out of here. And they really do look pretty good. I mean, right now, except for the bedding material that we have on top, I mean, they're breaking apart pretty easily. They're not, you know, super loose, but they're definitely usable. It's not like it's mud. Only the first part of them sort of smelled. So I don't know why that, if the one part was too compact or whatever. I have heard of people leaving the zipper open just a tiny bit, you know, just a little bit to let some air in on the bottom. And that maybe is something I'll have to do after this eventually. I will have to sort this a little bit. I'm going to want to get the worms out and put those back in. Actually, let me just go ahead and, while I'm here, I'll just start doing that now. Still nice, big, healthy worms, though, as you can see here. Even in the bottom here where there's tons of pressure. And there are some tiny ones in here too that are babies. You know, these guys look pretty small. But again, I'm going to add those right back to the bin, and we'll just start getting it. And then after this, we're going to add more food to here as well, because it definitely needs another feeding. Let's just kind of look through here a little bit. As I'm poking through, though, I'm going to move these worms off to the side. Another big one in there. Some babies right here, because this is going to be going out in my yard. I will want to also get out some of this. Like, this is a piece of plastic right here. So this is why you don't want to put plastic in your bins. You do have to sort it out at the end. That takes a lot of time. I've found it's just easier to just not put anything plastic in your bins that isn't going to break down. So normally I'll have like a trash can as I'm going through this to make sure that I don't throw anything like that in there. Paper, I don't mind that going into the yard, but plastic, that just sits around forever. So, but this feels pretty nice. I mean, it's not, as I said, it's not incredibly loose, but it flakes apart pretty easily. The moisture content's about right, you know, for castings. It'll be easy to use in my yard, especially after I mix it with some soils and stuff, or you know, put this through a mixer to aerate it with some water and spray it. You know, here's one of the pieces that was against the side. That one's a little bit moist. And has some branches in it, looks like, or some pieces that didn't quite compost fully. But overall, this is pretty good. And remember, this is a fairly new system that I'm working with. I'm not used to these European night crawlers compared to my red wigglers that I normally have. And, you know, it's took me a while to get used to these guys. They consume food a little differently, I've found, and they aren't quite as prolific as I've read as far as breeding and eating. You know, I always read that oh my gosh, they're voracious eaters, and I've not found that to be quite the case compared to my red wigglers, which tend to multiply faster in my care. Probably because I'm used to them, but you know, they just seem to do a lot better. So they're breaking apart this clump right here, and still, I mean, it's really good. I mean, this is it's a little tough, but it flakes apart. It's not bad. So there we go, and this is a good amount of material. This is a medium-sized tub. Oh wait, hold on here. Look, we've got a cocoon. Let's move it back into the light here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me zoom in here actually. This will focus. There we go. Now you can see it. See the cocoon right there? So there was a cocoon. So I'm going to put that in also with the worms, and that way, oops, wrong way. Hopefully get that to also produce more worms for me. So in the long run. So we'll see if we find any more of that, but I think I'll go through this But the first thing I really need to do is I need to add more food to this bin. This bin is already churning through some food, and we need to add some more in here. Sorry guys, that's my dog barking. Probably see somebody outside, or another dog. He loves other dogs. Gets all excited when they walk by. So, overall, really impressed with this bin. And, you know, again, I want to congratulate Urban Worm Bag for being on the list for NBC's news article that I have linked below. And let's go and start adding some more food. After I get that guy out. There we go. Okay, let's add some more food now. All right, we're back. It's no illusion, I do have the camera on the other side this time. I had to rotate the bag to get the best look at the harvesting. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to fold that away. We're going to take this off. There's already some worms around the side of the bag over there. And what we're going to do is I'm actually going to sprinkle in a little bit of my special crushed up eggshell here. Remember, you don't want to breathe this stuff in. I'm just going to try to sprinkle it in as light as I can. Just add some grit. All right, give me a second here. Let me just get some of the cloud of dust away that's going. And then I'm going to put in these compost rolls. So I've got these big compost rolls. If you want to see how to make these, you can look up. I'll have a video linked above and down below in the comment section. We're going to just put these around the side. So this is what we found in the beginning, were compost rolls like this. I'm just going to add some more. And then what I'm going to do here is add a little bit, or I should say I'm going to add the worms back so far that I've found, which isn't many, but I'm going to add these back in here before I forget. It's going to take a while to go through the casting, so I'll just add these guys back in. There we go. And now there is something else we do need to add here, and that is some water. We need to get these wet, so that way the worms can get down to them. So let's spray these down. All right, so here we go. And I'm adding a little bit extra water here because of the fact that it was a little bit dry, and it doesn't hurt to have that extra water in here. So there we go. I'm going to cover this back up, close this lid, and we're going to let this go for a little bit longer. We'll see what happens when we come back in a few weeks. I might need to add more food then, might not, who knows. So thank you for watching. If you're looking for any of these materials that I use, I do have links down in the description, along with a link to the article on this urban worm bag, as they were linked in NBC News, so on the composting article. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this.